Okay, so let's have a look at your questions for discussion board 11. And first up is Kacie. As a student, is there anything you think more teachers should add to their syllabus? A syllabus is a huge lifeline for any student, and it's helpful if the syllabus is checked regularly. I've had a professor that put clues to the next lesson on the syllabus in an attempt to get students to look at it more often. Are there any other techniques to motivate students to check their syllabus and due dates more often? Okay, let me start by saying this. In the area of language teaching, a syllabus needs to be very fluid. That is, you can have particular goals that you want to reach by the end of the particular semester or when the course finishes. But how you get there is going to change a lot, because with language teaching, we're going to um, react to our students' needs far more than in a content-based syllabus. So for that reason, it's very hard to talk about a very concrete syllabus in the way that you might get a syllabus for a history class or a physics class, etc. So I'm just underlying the fact as a teacher, you need to think of your syllabus as something that's going to be fluent and is going to be responsive to student needs. One way uh, uh, of getting students to be aware of the particular syllabus that I've used is to always project the syllabus at the beginning of class as a kind of a reminder, at the beginning of class, at the end of the class, as a reminder of what is to come. And I think that works pretty nicely. Okay, next question is James. Is there a preferred website or location to find reviews for ESL and EFL course books? Um, the probably the best place to get reviews and proper reviews, that is, not reviews written by publishers or written by people who are interested in selling their books, is to go to the particular journals. So go to a respectable ESL journal, for example, TESOL journal. You can get TESOL journal through the OU library. Um, Another good one, which is very accessible because it's open, is TESOL EJ, and I've given you the website there. But and when you go to these journals, what you're looking at is the book reviews, which are at the end of their usual articles. So it is a bit more difficult to find reviews. If you want to find a review of a specific book, then use Article Plus on the library website. Put in the name of the book and put book review, and that will give you various reviews of it. But if you want to just find a source of book reviews, you probably have to go to each volume, each issue of each of these journals. Kathryn says, is there any way to make mechanical drills a more necessary part of the learning process? I noticed that I, along with some of my peers, seem to come down on mechanical drills, but I really feel that that is because they're so repetitive. When should a teacher use the mechanical drills, and how can teachers hold the attention of the class while doing them? Okay, well, the whole basis and the importance of mechanical drills is that repetition is essential for language learning. The challenge to the language teacher is to make that repetition interesting and creative. One can do that in a whole variety of ways, and the key is trying to create some communicative purpose to the actual interaction. Um, one particular technique is that if it's a short little dialogue that students are practicing, well, get them out of their seats, get them walking around the room. You know, most of our conversations are not done in chairs, they're done while we're up and doing things. So that's one thing. The second thing is make the intonation fun. Do a lot of work on intonation patterns. Students get a kick out of that because what they're doing is working in a different pronunciation intonation pattern than their L1. So if you can work on that, then it becomes a fun thing to do, to repeat that intonation pattern. Our second thing to do is to have substitution drills, so they're not just repeating the same drill. Um, Here's an example of a drill, a little dialogue drill based upon two people just come out of the movies, and one says to the other, "What did you think?" They've just been to see Titanic. "What do you think of the movie?" The other person says, "I think it's the best movie I've ever seen." The other person says, "Oh, come on, I wouldn't say that." The other person replies, "Okay, well, let's say one of the best." So there's your little dialogue. And now think of substitutions. So, what did you think of Leonardo DiCaprio? What did you think of the music? What do you think of the special effects? What did you think of the director, etc.? And so that substitutes, but it's the same dialogue. Also, think of moods, saying things in an excited way, saying things in a sleepy way, saying things in a bored way, saying things in an angry way. So you're still repeating, but it becomes fun. So, yeah, that's the challenge, but keep at it. Next question from Bailey. Seeing as I and my partner for the EFA practicum this summer were both a little bit unhappy with the way that the textbooks that were provided with us were organized, is there any way that all that a curriculum plus syllabus for a TESOL course can be developed without the need for a textbook? Okay, I'm a great believer that any course that you offer a student has to have a textbook, and here are several reasons. The first reason is that it's incredibly difficult to create a syllabus for a course. However wonderful it might be, it takes a lot of hard work. Having a textbook at least reminds you of some kind of organized syllabus that you can hang your more inventive syllabus around. So yeah, go ahead, create your own syllabus, but also work together with a textbook. If you do that, of course, you have to use the textbook. Students get really annoyed if they buy a book and don't get to use it. But the first thing there is the textbook is going to provide you with a lot of material and a syllabus guide that you cannot think of. And then think about the days that you've maybe been out enjoying yourself the night before far too much, and you get into class and you don't know what to do. Well, you can always say, open your books at page 27 and do exercises 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you collapse. So that's one reason why a textbook is important. The other reason why a textbook is important is a record. It provides a record of what happens in class that students can look at when they're out of the class. It reinforces what goes on in the classroom. Third reason is it kind of is, well, it's not a real class if you don't get a textbook. So a lot of students can feel that way. So, if it's teaching English as a foreign language, it's it's prestigious to be able to get on the bus and get on the train and carrying your English textbook, right? It's a badge. Um, so yeah, textbooks are important, and that's some of the reasons why you shouldn't really abandon them. Next question from Sarah. How do you know if the coursebook resources are appropriate for the class without spending the money to order one? Yeah, that's tough. Usually the ways around that are, for example, if you go to conferences, TESOL conferences, there will be all the publishers there, and you can browse all the books and maybe get a free copy. If you're in a school, you can ask your administrator to order a desk copy of a particular book that you're interested in, so you can have a look at it before you adopt it. Next one, of course, is looking at reviews of particular books, and I've mentioned the kinds of journals that you can refer to find reviews of specific course books. Anthony says, as the text on page 184 details, control versus free techniques should not be viewed as black-white issues. However, in general, perhaps far too broad to question what is the best way to proceed during a learning activity. More controlled, more free, appealing to the students, or more of a blend of the two? Well, it's again not as black and white as that. It depends on where you're at in your particular lesson module. Um, if you've been working on an integrated approach, it may be when you get towards the end of it, you're going to have a whole lesson which could be free production in the sense of you've you've inputted the grammar, the vocabulary. Students are aware of the content, and now is a chance to for free production. But notice you only get to that if you go through all the other more controlled parts. Um, so there's going to be a mixture, and it may not be reflected in one lesson, but it's probably going to be reflected in a series of lessons based upon an integrated theme. There are times that you might just want to throw in a free production. For example, chatting, conversation. Perhaps one of the most valuable parts of an ESL classroom is that kind of unstructured conversation between teacher and student. It's not always easy to achieve, but if there are opportunities for that, then go with that. But for the most part, to get to free production, we do have to go through particular stages of scaffolded interactions, scaffolded, structured work to get to the freer production. Okay, thank you for those questions, and one more discussion board to go.